Sup y'all, and welcome to Organization and Reorganization of Human Societies, Part 3. In this video, we're going to look at India's political, cultural, and social systems. The strive toward the unification of India came partly as a result of intrusion from beyond the subcontinent. The Persian Empire crossed the Hindu Kush around 6th century BCE and then conquered areas of northwest India, making it part of the Persian Achaemenid Empire. Around 2 centuries later, Alexander the Great overran the Persians, crossed the Indus River, and crushed the Indian state based there. His army, desiring to return to Greece and near a revolt, moved on and left a power vacuum in the region. Chandragupta Maurya exploited that opportunity and established the Mauryan Empire, the first to gain control of most of the Indian subcontinent, centered in northern India along the Ganges River. Mauryan India is best known for Emperor Ashoka, who ruled from 268 to 232 BCE. His reign was first characterized by expansion through war. However, after a bloody conquest and massive loss of life, he felt sorrow for the fallen soldiers and civilians, and then converted to Buddhism. Ashoka had pillars constructed throughout the empire, posting laws and establishing edicts, such as the humane treatment of subjects, promoting ahimsa, which means non-violence, and religious toleration. Ashoka also had roads constructed for himself and officials to visit his vast lands, over 1,000 miles worth. These roads also acted to promote communication and trade throughout the empire. Ashoka had wells and rest houses built along the roads to care for people who traveled on it. Illustrating his lasting influence, the state emblem of India, declared in 1950 CE, was based on the lion capital of Ashoka. In this sense, capital means the topmost sculpture on a column. This emblem is currently used on all government letterhead and Indian currency. After Ashoka died, India descended into centuries of turmoil. New immigrants, invasions, and numerous competing rulers ensured India would lack large-scale stability. Around half a millennium later, the Gupta Empire came into existence, lasting from around 320 to 550 CE. Indian commerce flourished, as far as Rome. So did literature and the arts. Many of the classical Indian dances came from this time period. Science, such as astronomy, was very advanced for its time, and even Indian mathematics introduced the concept of zero as well as the decimal system. They also made progress in medicine, cataloging thousands of diseases and even performing surgeries. Like all empires, the Guptas fell. Even during their rule, India remained extremely diverse culturally and politically. The social impact of the caste system made for local loyalties as opposed to a widespread national or imperial identity. To understand Indian culture is to understand Hinduism. Easier said than done. It emerged over time as an assemblage of beliefs, deities, practices, rituals, and values. With no known founder or all-encompassing creed, it grew through the centuries along with the many diverse Indian cultures. The Vedas are written books of poems, hymns, prayers, and prescribed rituals. They were compiled by Brahmins, or priests, transmitted verbally for centuries, then written in Sanskrit around 600 BCE. The Vedas conveyed knowledge for living virtuously. The Upanishads, another set of holy texts, were philosophical works to decipher the inner meanings of the sacrifices and writings mentioned in the Vedas, written around 800 to 400 BCE. The Upanishads stated that Brahman, the world soul and ultimate reality, was a unitary energy infusing everything in the universe. Atman, the human soul, was part of Brahman, and the final goal of humankind was moksha, or liberation from the cycle of birth and rebirth. It is the final union with Brahman, and has been described as a bubble rising, breaking through the surface, and becoming one with the air. And moksha can be achieved in multiple ways. Studying, detaching from the world, or devotion to a deity are all ways to reach the ultimate goal. Brahman is sometimes viewed as having personalities of 3 gods: Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the protector, and Shiva, the destroyer. Many other deities have also gained importance over time, depending on the region. Samsara refers to the cycle of reincarnation. The Atman migrates from one body to another over numerous lifetimes, and one situation improves depending on actions while living. This is known as karma. And this concept helped entrench the caste system with rigid social groups, each one having its purpose, or dharma, meaning your duty. Indian culture was strongly patriarchal. Women were often forbidden to learn the Vedas, They were excluded from rituals and taught to serve their husbands as gods, even told to never remarry when the husband dies. Siddhartha Gautama was a prince from a northern Indian state. He was sheltered for most of his young life, but was appalled at witnessing the deep impoverishment of so many people. He set out on a journey seeking wisdom, and it is told that he received a vision while sitting under the Bodhi tree, meaning enlightenment. As such, he became the first Buddha, or enlightened one. A key element of Buddhism is dukkha, or the suffering associated with craving fulfillment. There are 4 noble truths. 1. That life is suffering. 2. The origin of suffering is craving. 3. The cessation of suffering means an end of all desires. And 4. To achieve this, one has to follow the Noble Eightfold Path, consisting of the right view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Essentially, one is supposed to live a modest and moral life. And different from Hinduism, you can achieve enlightenment in a single lifetime, which is nirvana. But similar to Hinduism, life is actually an illusion. Additionally, Buddhism shares the concepts of karma, reincarnation, meditation, and patriarchy. There is no belief in God or gods. Also, Buddhists rejected castes, stating that spiritual awakening was available to all, and this egalitarian message appealed to the lower castes as well as women. Over time, Buddhism gained even more Indian followers. For instance, Ashoka of the Mauryan Empire. Theravada Buddhism means the teaching of elders. It required intense self-effort. As such, many monks and nuns went to monasteries. They believed the Buddha was wise, but not divine. However, Buddhism didn't spread greatly until the emergence of a new branch, Mahayana Buddhism, meaning great vehicle. They believed that other Buddhists could help you on your path, and the Buddha became divine. Nirvana could be better achieved through acts of devotion, such as supporting a monastery or building a shrine. Unlike Hinduism, which was an ethnic religion in which one is born into, Buddhists, and mostly Mahayana, shared and spread their beliefs, making it a universalizing religion. Over time, Buddhism's original hearth in northern India grew to become more Hindu. However, Buddhism spread to take root and even dominate other regions, such as China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Indian society was rigidly structured into classes, or varnas. These made up the caste system. It may have originated with light-skinned Aryans differentiating themselves between the darker-skinned natives. There are 4 castes, supposedly formed from the body of a god, Purusha, and this meant that the varnas are eternal and changeless. One is born into a caste and cannot move up or down in one lifetime. At the top are the Brahmins, the priests, and the academics. They ensure the functioning of their society. Next, the Kshatriyas were rulers and warriors who governed and protected society. The Vaisyas were mainly landowners, herders, artisans, and merchants. These top 3 varnas were originally reserved for only the Aryans. Below them were the Sudras, the servants of their loyal superiors, made up of peasants and laborers. The Dalits, or untouchables, were pariahs, outside of the varnas. They did the unclean work, cremating corpses, producing leather from dead animals, acting as executioners, even cleaning latrines. Sometimes they had to wear bells or clappers to warn of their approaching, because in some instances, their shadows were not supposed to be cast upon someone of a higher caste. The varnas were divided further into jatis, or subcastes, usually associated with occupations and located in specific regions. Jatis were ranked hierarchically within the castes, and people were not supposed to marry or even dine with those outside of their jati. Following one's dharma, or duty, was necessary, and doing so earned you good karma. Over time, some jatis could move up the social scale and earn more wealth and land. All in all, the jatis were a local phenomenon, and great empires in India, such as the Mauryans or Guptas, were rare. Varnas, jatis, and Hinduism in general became a viable substitute for the state. People could find a place in society. The smaller scale structure accommodated natives, migrants, and invaders alike. It enabled the wealthy and powerful to exploit the poor masses, making poverty real, permanent, and unescapable.